Chris Sutton is questioning Celtic after Brendan Rodgers' recent comments. Welcome back to Fog Football. You know it's an early morning when Cheers is on the telly. Tell you what, we're ready to rock and roll. Ready to rock and roll, but we're going to keep things on the DL because I'm in a hotel here and I'm not going to be screaming my head off about Chris Sutton at 8:05 in the morning. Absolutely not. So let's dive straight into his comments. Celtic overnight. I was in cuckoo land. I was sleeping. They drew with Al Halil or something, and apparently that's another trophy. I mean, the third place trophy. I mean, this isn't even a dig at Celtic. This is reality about pre-season. I think there's far too many of these trophies that get dished out in pre-season. I know they're not legit. No one really treats them legit unless you're like Spurs or something. But I just don't really understand it. I don't really understand it. Now, what's worrying Chris Sutton is the fact that Yang was hinted at being a starter. And Rodgers turned around and said the South Korean winger couldn't be sold. That kind of tells you that Celtic aren't going to be bringing in too many wingers to get rid of Yang as that starting winger, and he's no good enough. Is the general consensus, and Celtic have been severely weakened in the front area of the pitch. That's a fact, folks. But let me guess. Big Stevie's talking BS. Wee Stevie liar. Come on, hit me with it this time in the morning. Anyway, that's what he said, Chris Sutton. And I quote, "It was an honest answer to a straightforward question, and it highlighted just where Celtic are right now. Brendan Rodgers was asked the other night about Yang's future, with Norwich City looking to land the winger on loan. He said he can't even think about letting him go because Yang is a current starter. Think about that. No disrespect to the player. He's shown positive signs that he can be a decent enough squad player at Celtic. But let's be honest. If you said a few months ago he'd be going out on loan, there wouldn't have been too many folk complaining. Yet now he's a starter. Why is that ad? You get extra new. Yet now he's a starter. If that isn't a warning, then I don't know what is. End of quote. Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that Rodgers is referring to Yang as a starter tells you all you need to know in that regard. And Sutton's right. You know, I think there was a similar experience against Panathinaikos for Rangers. Like, if you said at the end of last season, the front three leading the line against, whoever we got in Champions League was going to be Finlay Curtis, Danilo, and Kieran Dyle, you would have rightfully been pissed. Now, obviously, it ended well for us. We won 2-0, but I don't think many people really want the forward line going into next season, this season, consisting of Curtis, Danilo, and Dial. What I will say is, for me, I've actually no issue with Finlay Curtis anymore. Well, I didn't have an issue with him, but the point is, the guy last season was a youth prospect. And it's only a couple of games, but if he plays the way he's been playing, I'm fine with him in there. I like rewarding the academy players and all that good stuff. As for Kieran Dyle, I just don't get it. And as for Danilo, well, I think there's potential with Danilo if he can actually just stay fit for 6 months to fully grab that, the number 9 position for Rangers. But point is, Sutton's right. If you said months ago about Yang, no one really would have cared. He also spoke about the fact that the team is weaker because they lost a lot of players. They've lost Kuhn, they've no replaced Kyogo, and this is what he had to say. And I quote, "What is going on here with Celtic? The new season is a week away. The Champions League playoff is just over 4 weeks away, and the team is far weaker than the one that finished the season." End of quote. So tell you what, right? What day is it? Day Sunday. When does Celtic play? I think Celtic play. Hello, I can't even say a sentence. I think Celtic play next Sunday, right? But he's right. The team is weaker than last year. Now, obviously, here after a few months, you'll be able to find out what these new signings have done. But there's been no new signings apart from Kieran Tierney, right? But since you knew that was happening in January, can you even count it? People don't really know what to expect of a lot of Celtic players, like the Nigerans, like the Inamuras. Until you actually see them get a bunch of consistent months under the belt, you can't really judge it. And that's just the harsh reality when you sign players for, you know, cheaper than what people were expecting. If you're signing guys for like 8 to 10 million, they could actually have the same quality as a guy at 3 million. The reality is, people will just look at the price tag and be like, "Well, no, we're weaker." And if you're selling a guy for 16 million, you're selling a guy for 10 million in Kyogo last in January. That's like what 26.5 million there. Um, and people are going to be like, well, we haven't improved, and Yotta's also injured, and he's worth a lot of money, as proven by how much he went for. People are just going to look at that and be like, well, we haven't improved. But you have to wait and see in that regard. He says the Champions League playoff is just over 4 weeks away. Tell you what, man, could be well. I'm praying that Rangers are still in the Champions League playoffs. Come this time next month. But I tell you what a week that's going to be for Scottish football. Celtic in the Champions League playoff. Hopefully Rangers are in it. Aberdeen are in the Europa League playoff. I've got a sneaky feeling, Hibs are going to make it to a playoff of some kind. Is it going to be the Europa League? Yeah, I'm not convinced, but here, I've got all the faith in the world the Hibs can get the job done against Midtjylland this week. So it's going to be very interesting. But I think the key line here for Sutton is the team is far weaker than the one that finished the season. And like I said earlier, I don't think many of us can really disagree with that.